I hand over the session to Ms. Nikita C. to share her notable views. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Om, and thank you for inviting me as well. So, I have this. I have my presentation that I would like to share.
Yeah, ma'am, sure.
Yeah. My computer has become a bit slow, so please bear with
No
it.
problem, ma'am. Take your time.
Cool. So I want to know what is the background of everyone who's here. Like, what are you all doing? Hello.
Ma'am,
What is the background of each one of you? Anyways, we can have a talk a bit later. I'll start sharing my screen and just let me know if you are able to see my screen. Okay.
ma'am, your voice is breaking a little bit, ma'am.
See my screen?
Yeah, ma'am, it's visible.
And can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. Now it's okay, ma'am.
Great. So let's start off. And today's session, I would mostly consider on career in space. While I talk about the different jobs that you can look at in the field of space, I'll also talking and giving you a little idea about what exactly space and everything is. Okay. We'll also have a small Q&A at the end, and we'll see how it goes. So,
Sure, ma'am.
assuming that you all can see see my slides, I'm going ahead. So in the very beginning, this little story of mine, which I really like to share. Yeah, it's like I personally wanted to become a pilot. That was one of my childhood dream, and I wanted to like really become a pilot. And I realized that I was shocked, and I couldn't get into that. Okay, so basically, that was something that happened, and I decided, okay, if I don't aeroplanes and aircrafts and spacecrafts and things like that. At the same time, while I was studying aerospace engineering, I met one of my friend. I met a person, I would like to say, who later became my friend and partner at SSARD. So SSARD stands for Society for Space Education Research and Development, which basically aims to promote space education among everyone. Right now, when I say everyone, it's basically we started off with college going students like you all, while I was a student. And then we realized, okay, I think we should help the school going students, because it is them who are going to decide what is that they want to do, what course they have to take up, and everything. And that's when we shifted all our goal towards school students, and that became our vision and mission, where to prepare the whole community to be part of space revolution. Then, after having this vision and mission, I like went on doing a lot of outreach programs, and yeah, I was on many news programs on the TV, and kind of used to go and participate in a lot of programs and competitions, and that's how I used to kind of spend my time. And HSRD got the best or the NGO Champion Award for the work that we were doing at SSARD right after 1 year. We were also invited to Mauritius to teach students, the young students. If you could see there, they are all the youngsters, and they wanted to teach space about all the students, and they want to learn over there in Africa. So we were invited there to show how to do the outreach programs. Similarly, we were also invited to Sri Lanka to teach students over there. Here, it's more of like high school students. And yes, we also have our branch in Philippines, which is working on a similar domain to promote space education over there. These are a few programs that we started off with called Astro Space Camp, and we do space talks every once in 2 weeks. You all are, invited to listen to that. And then we do something called a space trek. That's a field trip to space-related places. And then Little Professor, sky gazing. We also provide internship and project for college-going students. So basically, these are the things that we started off with, and then a lot of things we do right now. And basically, as I said, we talk to students, and our focus is on students because they are the one who's going to be the future. We help them to learn everything hands-on and not just the theory. So if you could see, they kind of learn a lot on building and designing and learning and things like that. Then this is something that I usually share. So after my studies in 2017, I couldn't do my master's, but yes, I got the opportunity to study about space in a program called a Space Studies program at ISU. Last year in 2019, I was there, and I was lucky to also receive the Dr. Kalpana Chawla Scholarship, which is given for Indian women to attend this program. A lot of things I got to explore over here is that one, I really met astronauts, like 3 to 4 astronauts. 2 are here, and another one was the Buzz Aldrin. I don't have a picture with him like this because he's so we just can't have a picture with him. And then yeah, I got to touch the asteroid. I got to see the real space food, and that's a real space crew module which goes to space and comes back, which was used long back. A lot of things. It's like you learn about so many things about space during there, and then we were also supposed to do a project which I took part in, space for urban planning. So for example, if we all live in the urban cities, right? And if the number of people are going more and more, what are the challenges that we're facing, and how do you solve those challenges with the help of space technology? So this is basically about that, where I was part of a team which has 30 people from 17 different countries, which had a team members of engineers, scientists, doctors, pilots, then entrepreneurs, and everyone. So it's a combination of everyone who came together and who worked on this project. And that's what exactly space is. For anything in space, it's not just engineers or it's not just scientists. It's basically everyone. Okay, and that's what I realized over there. And something that I really like to share wherever I go is this, so that it could be either helpful to you or you help the students. So if there's a student who likes only about aeroplanes, helicopters, and drones, flying, and everything, you should help them to understand that it's called as aeronautics and aviation. So if they want to learn about flying, then it's called aviation. If they want to learn about aircrafts, how do they fly, how do they design, and everything, it's called aeronautics. Because they're aerospace engineering, thinking that they would study about stars and planets. I'm not sure if we have any of them here, but this is what everyone thinks. They think that stars and planets is what we learn, and you end up taking aeronautical engineering where you start learning about all the aeroplanes and parts of aeroplanes, forces acting on the aeroplane, and you will not get interested towards it, and you don't give concentration, your marks comes down, and you'll not get job. and you say aeronautical engineering was the waste of thing. So this is something that I really stress upon to know. Everyone must know that these are the things and this is how it's called, and you need to look for so and so institutions and so and so courses. So space technology and innovation, it's all about satellites, rockets, astronauts, and sending rovers to other planets, like for exploration and innovation, and including ISS and all these things. So if you want to learn about any of these things, it's called as space technology. Okay, so you can help anyone who's interested in these things. They must also learn that. Also, astronautics is one of the part. Similarly, if you like about stars and planets, exploring like if there's any other planetary system, or if you look at the star, what exactly are they made up of? If you want to learn all these things, then it's called astronomy, astrophysics, and cosmology and things like that. So it's completely different things. And the first two could be engineering, but the last one is not called engineering. It's called pure science. You need to do your BSc, and then you need to do your MSc in astrophysics, and then you keep on going to higher and higher level. So this is where everyone does a mistake, and I request each one of you to help someone in the future. If anyone comes and asks you that I like this, what should I do? Right? You should help them. Now let's go to the next slide. These are the this is how we've explored the whole solar system. In fact, the whole world, right? So from Earth, every line in every line here says which are the satellites that are gone to where, and everything. So if you see from Earth, it's been to Mars. From Earth, we've gone to Moon and Venus, Mercury. We've gone to Sun. We've gone to Jupiter, moons of Jupiter, Saturn, moons of Saturn. We've gone to Pluto, and there are two, three satellites which have gone outside our solar system. So we have the something outside our solar system. Okay, and it's amazing that we all did this in 60 years of span. Okay, can anyone help me, or can anyone answer when was the first ever man-made satellite was launched? I know it's Sputnik, but does anyone know which year it was launched?
1963. No, sorry, 49.
Are you sure it's 1949?
Yes.
Does anyone want to quickly Google?
Ma'am, I
1957.
think it's 1964.
1957?
1964.
Not 1954 is not for sure. Yeah.
1964.
Is it 1964?
I hope so.
You hope so. Okay, so let's say few of you said 1964, few of you said 1957. Is anyone telling 1947 or something? Anyone has any guess on that? I hope few of you at least Google, right? By now you should have got the answer. Did anyone search? Can you share?
1957.
19?
1957.
1957. So you see, we learned all this while we were in school, but we still don't remember. There was one person who answered it in the very beginning. Very nice. But what I'm trying to say is 1957, and can you all subtract 2020 by 1957 and tell me how many years it's been after launching the first satellite? Quickly.
63 years.
60?
63.
63 years. Okay. So look at that. In 63 years, we literally sent something that went to space, and after that we sent something that's gone outside our whole solar system. We explored the whole galaxy. We know what are what are the different galaxies that are there. We explored if we could actually go live on the Mars and everything in just this 63 years of time. And imagine we all are what, less than 20 or less than 25. Let me include myself also. So we all are less than 25 years, and 50 years from now, consider 50 years from now, how does the space technology evolve? Imagine what would be the world. We might be living on Moon, we might be living on Mars, we might be tripping around the space just like we go on a world trip, right? That's how much it's gonna, like, get its prominence about. To give you all another importance of space technology, right now, today, most of the things that we do is just because of satellites and space technology. To start off, we get to know about the weather, we do the internet banking, we are able to talk like this live because of space technology. We listen to all the news and then the live programs that we see, and we get to know about if there's any hurricanes that are coming. Basically, you talk about anything, it's directly or indirectly related to space. For example, most of you would have joined with the help of the phone. This phone is one of the spin-off of space technology, as in something like this was first time used in space to talk from here on Earth. And then we thought, okay, if you're able to use this to space, then why can't we use here on the Earth to speak to one person to another person? That's when this was born, right? So think about it, every small thing space technology is used, and that's how important it is. Being said that, each one of you must be very curious to learn. Let's go to the careers that I was talking. I will quickly go through it so that we get more time to discuss. So basically, scientists are the people who invent things. They look at the science principles. They form the theories. They form the rules and regulations, and they form so many things based on their observations. And they would be the first people to do it, right? So they are called the space scientists if they work on space related topics, but otherwise they're called scientists. Okay, can anyone tell me what is the difference between invention and discovery? Can anyone just turn on your mic and tell me what's the difference between invention and discovery?
Invention is when you invent something which has not been there before. Discovery is when you find something which is already there, but no one has found it yet. Something that's already present.
Very absolutely correct answer. So it's like 100% correct answer. Okay. Yeah, basically, which means scientists are inventing things, which means that they found something which was never existing. They found something that no one thought of, and that's why they're called as scientists. People who invent things are called scientists. Okay. Now about discovery that I was talking about, like for example, we have so many stars in the sky, and do we know the name of each and every star? Right? No. We know very few stars. So if you look at something new, some new star, then it's a discovery. For example, we say Vasco da Gama discovered India. It doesn't mean that he formed India. India was there pretty long back. But to the whole world, which he thinks, like to the Western world, he was the one who first found this land. And that was just in 1600s. We have proofs of we being here from very long back. So I hope you're getting the difference between discovery and invention, right? So the scientists are the people who work on inventions. Now let's go to engineers. Now the basic difference between scientists and engineers are basically engineers build something that a scientist wanted. For example, they say that I want to learn these things. For this, I need something which will help me to observe these things. And the engineer will get it done like that. So basically, engineering is a person who builds the things. Now, building, there's no speciality when you build the same thing. But you will be called a best engineer when you build something, some special quality if you bring in, which was not there in the previous one, then you're called a special engineer. For example, again, I would like to give you an example of phone. Like if you see the phones that were there pretty long back, we always had phones, but the phones which we used to have like long back was like this fat, and then it used to be this big. If you see now, this has become distant. It's all because of engineering. It's because of the talent of the engineers, right? Technology. In other way, scientists, it's all about science. Engineers, it's all about technology. So this is a major difference between engineering and space, being a scientist. Now, if I have to talk about space engineers, which means you actually build something that's used for space. For example, you build a rocket, you build a satellite, you build some rover, you build anything. Then you're called a space engineer. Okay, I hope you all understood. Let's go to something that you might have ever heard of. Okay, there's something called as space medicine, wherein you're a doctor. You're a proper doctor who treats people, but you are called a space doctor when you are treating someone who is going to go to space, or who is in space, or who has just come back from space. It could be checking the normal health. It could be about the blood itself, or it could be about the heart. It could be about the bones. It could be about mental stability. That's psychiatrist. We have something called as space psychiatrist role also. Then pharmacist, like for example, we can't take the same medicines that we use here, so a little different. Same thing with the food and the experiments that you need to do. For example, you need to do a lot of exercises over there because there is no gravity. So many things comes into picture. For all these things, we need someone who knows a lot about medicine. That's the health and the life. At the same time, that person must also know about space. Then is when he combines these two. He or she combines these two and gives the best, right? So that's space medicine. In fact, we recently, like last Saturday, we had one of the space doctor who gave a talk on space medicine. So if you're interested, just go to our website or go to SSRE YouTube channel. You can find it. Okay, and then something that you might have again not heard of: space lawyer. So basically, what do they do? It's nothing but a lawyer. Like person, if he or she is a lawyer, also know about space, and you deal with the cases of space, then you're a space lawyer. Okay, and this profession came into existence during 1960s, when a lot of people started launching the satellites and things. They formed something called as Outer Space Treaty. Okay, wherein they called so many countries. They formed few rules and regulations that every country must follow. For example, if I launch a satellite and that that go and hits another satellite in the space, what happens? Who's supposed to give money to whom? Just like on the road, if you go hit another car, you're supposed to pay. Now, if someone comes and hits you, you need to pay, right? Like you need to at least take care of the damages. If the damage is more, you need to pay more and more. Similarly, there are so many rules and regulations that we need to follow, and for that, space lawyers help us. There is again another space talk on space law on our YouTube channel. You can go and watch and listen what exactly it is and everything. She's my professor who taught us space law, like personally me, while I was in ISU. Like I literally didn't know anything, and I learned a lot about it. Another amazing profession that we never think of is a space architecture. Most of us do architecture. There's a profession called architecture who designs the house, the buildings and things like that. Now imagine, as I said just some time back, I said 63 years we have arrived this stage. 50 years from now, we will be living on the moon or Mars. Do you think we can build similar houses like this, window open, doors open, and things like that? No. Right? So basically we need a cool structures which actually save us from the problems that we might face on these planets or celestial bodies. So for that, a person must have a proper knowledge in architecture. At the same time, they must know what is space. For example, if I'm an architecture and I'm asked to design a habitat on Mars, I should know what is Mars. what is the temperature over there, what are the gases that are there, so that it's not open, or my material that I'm going to build can withstand that. All those things comes into picture. So it's amazing. She's one of the role model for everyone who is interested in this. Her name is Sushmita Mahanti, who's a space architecture, who designs these kind of structures which goes to either space or at least orbits in the coming days. Who's done a lot of work. Space entrepreneurship, of course, he is the god. He's the god of all the space lovers. Elon Musk, we love him, right? So again, what is so special in this person, rather than so many space related companies that were there from so many years, but why does this guy get so much of attraction from all over the world, even if he does something stupid, right? That's the reason being, his ideas are so noble, so noble. Like, he says, I just want to go to Mars and I'm going to build my own rocket. Simple. And that's what he built. And he started working on the whole SpaceX idea. And then he said, okay, a lot of rocket materials is going waste. I want to bring the rocket back. And he just made all his team to work on a technology which just brings the rocket back. You put the fuel, send it. Bring it back, put the fuel, send it. Imagine how much money he's saving on the material. See, of course, it costs a lot when you launch it through SpaceX, but imagine the amount of material that we are saving. Imagine how many launches we have done to launch satellites or anything in the earlier days, and all the rocket parts just either burns in the sky or falls in the water, right? But that's why we all love him. And then there's one more company called Blue Moon, which is almost not that old, not that new, but they are again working. If you don't know who is this person, he's the owner of our Amazon. Like, basically, if you want to buy something, if you want to order something, you go to Amazon and say, okay, I want to search this, and you'll buy it, right? Like, I got this yesterday, something like that, right? So this person owns Amazon, and you know how rich he is, and he invested, or he started his own company, a space related company. And just imagine a richest person is putting money into space company, which means space is that huge. It's so worth. Okay, it's like tremendous thing. Your ideas need not be something very big visions and things. It could be something cool and entertainment as well. For example, if you can see this lady, she's from Japan. Her name is Lang something. I don't remember. But yeah, so basically her company does something called as artificial shooting stars. For example, if there are rich people and your wedding is happening and you want a shooting star to just come like that, okay, she does it. Okay, it's because it's under space company, because it's a space related company. She's sending something to the space which just comes and burns up while it is in the sky, and you see and like have fun. It's just for an entertainment. And people have ordered a lot. Like, you can get like, okay, I need this color shooting star. She'll say, okay, you'll get it. Imagine how cool and what tall you could do, right? So space entrepreneurship, something huge that you can look at. This is something that really I want to share with everyone is, these are the Indian space companies, like pretty old one. Like, I think most of you know HAL, NAL, and then there's Vajra, L&T, Tata, Godrej Aerospace. There are a lot of them. These are pretty old companies, okay, which work either directly with ISRO, or they give one part to ISRO. For example, if you could see here, Vajra Rubber Products, it's one of the company from Thrissur, which is like pretty old. What they do is they kind of give, like absorption, shock absorption materials and things like that. And there is, okay, Premier Explosives Limited. And this company gives the propellants to ISRO for their rockets. Imagine. This is how, for example, our HAL builds, that ISRO has that rocket, the tubes which we use, like first stage, second stage, third stage. And, every time we launch a rocket, that cylinders, the huge cylinders is just going into water. Who does that? HAL does it. They are the one who design and give it to ISRO, and ISRO puts everything together and then they launch. Right? So basically, these are the companies which have been working with ISRO from a pretty long time. And this is something that newly ISRO formed, New Space India Limited. It's a government of India company. It's a private company of government of India, which will work with Department of Space and ISRO and things like that. Now, something cool that you all must know, these are old companies. I'm trying to say all the time that these are old companies. Then you might have a question, do we have something called as new companies? Of course, yes, we do have. These are like the best new space companies which we have in India. You all must and should know about these companies. Okay, you might not find all of these on wherever you want on your social media, because they are so busy in doing their own work. To just tell you, we categorize the companies into 3 different sections. One is upstream, as in the companies which build something that go up in the sky, upstream. And we have few companies which work on something called as downstream. Basically, if you have anything in the sky already, how do you make use of that? Downstream. So basically satellites and communications and things like that. So Earth to Orbit is a company which works on, if you can see, equality, agriculture, and moreover, they work on, they were the first one to bring American companies to launch in ISRO's rockets. Okay, pretty famous they are. And again, I've heard that Earth to Orbit is the first space company in India, which was in 1997 sometime. I think it's before you were all born. And Bellatrix Aerospace is another brand, amazing company. My friends have started. It's pretty old though now. They also have propulsion system, and they've been giving their propulsion system to ISRO. Okay, and then Agnikul is one more rocket building company. Skyroot is another rocket building company. Bellatrix is also building a rocket. Team Indus has, I don't know if build a lander that could go and land on the moon. They built that, and unfortunately they couldn't launch it. But if you see, these are all not the companies which build your the rocket that you see during your training and things. These are not. These are the real companies and recognized and invested companies, highly invested companies. These are not your experimental rocket, like people go buy tubes and put some fuel into it and fly it. They are not. They are the real big companies, which was started by all the young people with lot of effort. Okay. Coming to SatSearch is one more company which helps in, if you want to know anything about, if you want to buy anything related to satellites or space technology, anything related to space, you go to this. It's like a Google. We all go to Google to search information, right? So basically, you go to SatSearch and you can find any information related to that over there. Organizers, could you just tell me how much time do I have, please, so that I wrap up or I talk accordingly? Hello? Hello? Do we have anyone?
It's 20 minutes more.
Cool, great. Thank you. I thought that there's no one listening to me. Cool. So then we have SatSure, which uses the satellite data. Okay. And then Astrome, which is working on the satellite internet. Okay. Blue Sky works on environment with the help of space. Nopo builds nanoparticles, which could be used for space technology. Kava Space is the Dhruva Space. Astrogate Lab, Manasu Space. Pixel is one of the brand new company which is working on satellite imagery systems and things like that. These are the amazing space startups which we have here in India. Okay. And let's go to the next slide and wrap it up. So for those who like astronomy and astrophysics and things, you should look out for organizations like Royal Astronomical Society, Indian Astronomical Society of India. They do a lot of conferences and talks, and you can be part of it and learn. Basically, here you explore about the outer space and things. Like be it if there's any asteroid coming up, or if there's any planet that has been explored or discovered and things. This is brand new domain that people are looking at, that space agriculture or space farming, because if you go to space, this is a picture from Martian though, but what I'm trying to say is if we all start going to space, and we might not be able to take that much of food, so you need to kind of look at different ways of farming the food over there. And it may not be farming only, but you can think of different types of food, how do you take it and everything. Astronaut is one of the professions that we all can have. Most of them think that we should become an engineers, or most of us think that we should be a pilot, but it's actually not. You should have a degree in any science related topic, and you should be the smartest person to become an astronaut. If you see, none of the astronauts are dumb people. So they have a lot of skills that they learn with the help of, with their education. They will be good in so many things. For example, talking, for example, swimming and flying, and so many things they'll be good in. For example, there is one person with 95% and knows only one skill. For example, the second person with 60%, but he knows flying, he knows swimming, he knows so many other things. Then a person with 60 or 70% is taken, and not this person with 95%. Marks doesn't matter at all. Astronauts, they are inspiring, very inspiring people, as you all know. Astrobiology, it's all about life in space. Can life be possible in space? Or if for example, if you go to other planet, can we grow a plant over there? Or are there any living things on that particular planet? Or have we seen any aliens here on the Earth? So a study of all these things is called astrobiology. It's pretty interesting. Journalism is one more thing. Also, we call communicators. For example, I am a communicator. Okay, like I like to talk and share about space things, and I'm a communicator. Like that, this is something where you could tell about space. So basically, you should know everything about journalism, and you should know about space, so that you write it in a way that everyone could understand, right? Then space artists, most of them think that there's no place for artists. Yes, there is. If you become an artist, you could do wonders. For example, this person called Yosaku from Japan is one of the richest person in Japan. He's an artist, and he wants to go to space. He said, I want to take another 6 to 7 artists with me to go around the moon and come back. The reason being, he wants all the artists to really work on something related to space. For example, who's a singer, he should sing a song about space. Who's a music composer should come up with new ways of making everyone like space. A painter or a fashion designer, so that he or she can design a dress which will be something related to space and things like that. So a lot of thing that you could do here. Space educator, again, I'm one of the educator, which you might be thinking. Basically, I just put my photo, but I'm here interested in pointing at your professors, right? They're all teaching you, and they're all the educators. They could have went and worked somewhere else, but they're teaching you. It's because they have an interest to teach. So this is one profession that we all can also think of, teaching profession. If you're interested in space, then you study a lot about space, and then you can teach about space. If you all want to start off, you can just go look out for sky and start observing things and take part in competitions, programs, and things like that. You could also become, something called a citizen scientist. Okay, you can take part in these programs, and also we have started something called as Asteroid Search Campaign, where you can come and register, and you actually discover one asteroid. How cool is that, right? So you can take part on all those things as well. Now let's come back and become a bit more serious and understand how exactly we need to look at things. I tell this to everyone, though it was not asked, because it's like really, really important. You have already reached the situation where you're in university. After this, you don't know what you need to do. Then this is what you need to do. First, start doing your internship, start learning different things, start deciding what is that you want to do. Do you want to study or do you want to work? If you want to study, start looking for universities and start applying for them right now. If you want to work, then start looking for companies which you like and look what they want from you and start preparing on that. Okay, that's like really, really, really important. And I've heard from many of my mentors that if any one of you here is interested in becoming entrepreneurs, don't directly jump into becoming an entrepreneur. Instead, you become an employee of some company, learn things, and then you become an entrepreneur. That's and I would like to share the same thing. And apart from that, this is one of my mentor again, who's an engineer from. You need to have a fun-filled life, do your best, believe in yourself, and love what you do. Like basically, if you want to do anything, just give your best. Like for example, if this is about writing homework completely, right? And believe in yourself. Think that you can do it. You will do it. Okay. And at the last thing is, whatever you get. The third point is, instead of love what you do, I would like to say do what you love. Like just do what you like to do, because only then you will do best. At SSCRD, what you could do is like go and explore. We have our website here, sscrd.org. You see if you want to be part in any of the programs, you can join us and follow us on social media. That would be like really cool, so that you can get to know if there's any other programs happening. And that is me. You can also go and follow me on all the social media, and I'm happy to take any questions. Okay, we have 12 minutes. Amazing.
Now, participants can post their questions in the chat box.
Hello, ma'am. Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
Ma'am, can you tell me when you got this idea about SSCRD and when
Yes.
you started it?
Please go ahead. Question. Can you repeat again?
Ma'am, can you tell me how you got this idea for SSCRD and when you started it, and how you gathered like-minded people to join with this thing, with this society?
Yeah, thank you for the question. It's like I was a student like you all, and I had started a club in the college, which was to learn about all these aerospace
Hello.
related things. And I had a lot of my friends who were studying aerospace engineering, thinking that they would study about stars and planets, like how I said. And that became very concerning for me. And I used to love space, and I always used to attend any program that used to happen about space. And luckily, I attended one of the conference in 2016 where Sujay was the organizer of that conference. We met and we discussed a lot after the conference, where we understood that we both had a similar problems, similar problems that we identified. He used to get a lot of questions from his followers telling, okay, we don't know what to do, what should we do and things. So we thought we should help students, and that's when SSCRD was started. In the very beginning, it was we both, and we had a lot of our friends who used to help us in, planning and, very, very initial part. After that, it was in 2017 when we got it registered as an NGO. So after so it was in 2016 when we had this idea, but we got it registered in 2017 September. So it was like almost after 1.5 years we got it registered. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I see a lot of questions. Thank you. I see a lot of questions. I don't know which one to pick. Can volunteers or the organizers help me pick up the question so that I answer?
Ma'am, we can pick up from the ascending order, ma'am. From which one first to last? It will be nice, ma'am.
Okay, you want me to pick only. Okay, cool.
Yeah, the first question is, can I know about internship and
Yeah.
SSDRE?
Okay. 1 second. Got it. So I see most of you have put down your streams like aeronautical, electronics, mechanical. It's very good to know that you all have come from different backgrounds. Space is something which is for everyone. For example, there's a satellite, and if you have to build a satellite, it's not just done by an aerospace engineer. In fact, the role of an aerospace engineer is very least compared to you all. We need a mechanical engineer to design the structure. We need a communications person to work on the circuits and things, and programming must be done by a computer science student. A lot of collaborative work has to be done. Okay, so it's a role of everyone that we need in the field of space technology.
And the next question is Team Indus still functioning?
Team Indus is still functioning, but in between they kept on changing what they want to do. But yes, the company is still there and they have all the employees, but it's a very secretive. Like, I am unable to explore what they're doing, though I have the contacts of everyone who's working there. They really don't share what they're doing. So yes, they are working, but probably they're coming up with something big for all of us. Let's wait for them and let's wish them. Okay, I saw there's a question about internship in SSCRD. Yes, if you all can go to SSCRD website, you'll find internships. It's basically for students who are in their bachelor's, master's, be it engineering or pure science, where we have space-related topics, and you can pick any topic that you like from the list, and there's a selection process that you need to go through. Once you're selected, then you'll be put into a group. It's a very diverse group, people from all over India. In fact, now we have people from other countries as well. So they all come together and work on one project, and that's for 6 weeks duration. So you can look out our website. And then there's a question from Nikhil Gupta: what's the role of particle physics in space technology? So Nikhil, it's not space technology now. It becomes astrophysics. Because it's all about particle physics or nuclear physics and quantum physics. It's all about the science. It's not the technology. So it doesn't come out of space technology. It's completely about the science. Then we have Shobana. Can you tell what is the basic quality to do internship? For us, with us, there's no basic quality that we're looking at, but basically everyone else look at your marks. But what we are looking at SSCRD is the skills that you bring in. For example, if you are a person who knows programming, if you're a person who knows MATLAB, if you're a person who knows ANSYS or designing software and things like that. If you're a person who's good in talking, yes, something like that. So basically, you need to have those skills that are like really, really important. Can someone work for SSCRD? What is the criteria? Yes, we are looking for team members at SSCRD. We are a very small team now, but yes, we are looking for good people. Right now, the requirement is One is one is in social media department, and then a few roles in the program coordination team. So we do have, and criteria is basically, as I said, you need to be good in that the thing that we're talking about. It's not about marks and things. What are the opportunities in SSCRD for school students who love astrophysics? So at SSCRD, we have a lot of courses that we have given earlier where students come and learn. And right now, there's one more program live. You can all help us in sharing about it. It's called SSCRD Outreach Program, which we are planning to do it for free for 10 days. And it's open for everyone to attend till grade 12. So that's how they can come and learn. And it's not only that, after 12th, we like to help those students to, in case if they're looking at taking up some career, we also help them in, in that. Is it possible to do masters in science after bachelor's in engineering? Very good question. I'm not able to pronounce your name, but the answer is yes, but very hard. Like very rarely you get the chance because you must write your GATE exam, okay, and your score must be like really well, and you apply to a university which is giving masters in science and tell them that I have this GATE score, but I'm interested in this. There's something that you could do. Very rarely you must like really have good score for it, or basically good knowledge and interest in it. Can you elaborate more about how you join ISU? Yeah, ISU is like when I was in Mauritius to teach African students. I had I got a chance to meet a lot of speakers over there along with me. Most of them were had studied at ISU. When they got to know about me, they said, Nikita, you should go to ISU. It'll help you. I was like, okay, fine. And then I started applying, and I got all my friends to write a letter of recommendation. I applied. While I was applying, I realized that when I was in my third year, I was looking for masters, and I had applied to ISU over there to do my masters. But after 4 years, I think not 4 years, it was in 2016, I think I applied, 16, 17, 18, 19. After 4 years, I got the chance to apply again, but now I was selected because of the work that I had done at ISU, and I also received scholarships. So basically, they look at what background we are in, and if you need financial help, we do get that. And like they don't give 100% scholarship, they give a lot of scholarship. We need to pay the rest. Again, I did crowdfunding. Again, a lot of them helped us and helped me, and yeah, that's how it happened. Is there space lawyers in India? Yes, we do have, and that's why I said you should visit our SSCRD website. Wait, let me just send you something. Okay, here, just go to this website and go to initiatives. Okay, and go to initiatives and search for Space Doc. You'll find the first one to be a space lawyer. And if you go to our website, if anyone wants to listen to space medicine, I'm sending you the link for that also. Yeah. The second one will take you to a place where you can listen to the space medicine. And you can also listen to all other space talks. Just go to our website, go find initiatives under Space Talk. You can find all of them. Deep Sky Telescope is very costly. Yes. How can we research and observe space? Of course, Sahil, it's too costly. But what you can do is you can look out for a few organizations which give the remote control of a satellite. Okay, For example, you'll be here, but you can actually operate a telescope from other place. Okay, I'm not sure about which company and things, but you can look out for something called as remote telescope observation. You might find few which would be easy and everything. How do we do crowdfunding for our higher studies? Grishma, it is one, it's something big. Okay, for example, I am a person from like right after my school, I was doing my part-time teaching and I used to earn money. And suddenly when I had to ask money, it's basically crowdfunding is a respectful and a digital version of begging. Basically, I'm begging everyone, okay, but in a version where I'm telling I'm so and so, I'm giving my reasons and everything. And it was very hard for me to do that crowdfunding. But yeah, exactly, Slower is one thing. That is one organization, correct. So yeah, it was very hard for me to kind of do that. But yes, I did it. And not everyone will help you, so you can't expect everyone to give you money in lakhs and lakhs and lakhs. No, unless the program is uh, or for example, the reason is very important and unique and urgent, then is when people give you money. Otherwise, I'm not sure how effective is that. Yeah, Slough. In fact, yeah, today we have a meeting with them in right 5:30. We have meeting with the Slough. I think they would like to discuss something. Yeah, cool. Any questions? I request all of you to go follow us on social media if you all like it, so that you get notification whenever we do any other programs. If there are no questions, then thank you so much for inviting.
Okay, ma'am, let's end the session now. I, on behalf of SCDS KCT, want to thank and extend my gratitude to the speaker, Ms. Nikita, for your presence and also for provoking such an inspiring and thought-provoking address. You are a true inspiration for us, ma'am. Finally, I thank all members who attended and graced the session in great numbers. Feedback link is in the chat box. Kindly fill it to earn your certificate. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Participants, also we have a Space Talks 5 on 21st August 2020, in which the speaker is Mr. Ankit Bateja, who is the founder and director of Zovian Aerospace, and he is also a TEDx speaker. Please do participate in that. We are awaiting for your presence there. Thank you, ma'am.